Andrea, are you talking? Because I think we can't hear you.
Hi guys, good evening. I'm sorry, yeah, I know. Hey guys, so today we'll continue working on the listening section, and we'll be practicing because it's our practice session, and we'll be practicing TOEFL conversations, right? So, okay guys, I'm sorry. So as I was telling you, we're gonna be practicing TOEFL conversations. We're gonna start by practicing using this website here, and then we'll use my coach. Okay, so let's see. How do we do this? Okay, guys, so please be ready to take notes. I'm gonna play our first conversation.
Listen to a conversation between a student and an employee.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Come on in.
Okay.
So, what can I help you with today?
Well, I want to join the bicycle club.
Joining clubs is a great thing to do. Unfortunately, the bicycle club currently has no events because the office is being renovated.
Oh, well, when is it going to be done?
The anticipated date of completion is next semester, though it could take as long as a year.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a bummer.
I do apologize.
It's not your fault, I guess. So are there other clubs I can join instead?
Absolutely. There are a wide variety of clubs throughout campus. Since you are interested in the bicycle club, I would recommend the hiking club or rock climbing club. They are popular options for students who are interested in exercising and meeting friends.
Those could be nice. It's too bad about the bicycle club, though. But yeah, those would work. How about the hiking club? When is it?
The hiking club meets Friday evenings.
That won't work then. I have biology class on Friday night. I didn't think finding a club would be this hard.
Don't get discouraged. It's all about finding the right fit. In the future, the bicycle club's office will be finished and they will start up again. You won't always have biology on Friday nights either. What about the rock climbing club?
I do really like climbing. When is that one?
Let's see. The rock climbing club meets Tuesday afternoons.
Okay, yeah. I don't have any class or anything going on then.
So you'd like to join the rock climbing club?
Yes, please.
All right. So the process isn't too complicated. You just have to pay the dues, which aren't very large, and then fill out your contact information and attend the next meeting.
Is it going to be their first ever meeting? Like, will I be that strange new person that nobody knows?
It is not their first meeting, but you really don't need to worry. The whole point of clubs is that they're social and welcoming to new people. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
That's easy to say, but what if I don't?
Well, thinking negatively like that will only hurt your chances. So first, try to stay positive. They will probably ask you to introduce yourself so they can get to know you a little bit, and you'll be good from there.
Stuff like that makes me nervous.
It's perfectly normal to be nervous. But remember, everybody there was the new person at some point. But if for some reason it doesn't work out for you, you can always come back to me. There are plenty of clubs for all kinds of people. And like I said before, you may be able to join the hiking or bicycle club in the future.
But I should still try this now?
Of course. There are no guarantees, and one of the major aspects of college is going out and trying new things.
Right, so That was a conversation. Now let's start answering the questions. The first question we have here, the main idea type of question says, why does the student go to speak to the consultant? What do you guys think?
The first one.
Yes, does everyone agree? Yeah, right? Great. So perfect. It's kind of the same as what we did yesterday. So this is asking you about the intention, the reason why the student went to see this person. And you gotta always focus on the original intent, right? Not what you talked about later. Okay. So in this case, yes, that's correct. Now, next question says, listen again to part of the conversation and answer the following question.
All right, so the process isn't too complicated. You just have to pay the dues, which aren't very large, and then fill out your contact information and attend the next meeting.
Is it going to be their first ever meeting? Like, will I be that strange new person that nobody knows?
Okay, guys. So the question is, what is the student attempting to express? What does she mean when she says that?
She's nervous.
The student is nervous.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, which one did you say?
Nervous.
Yeah, she was nervous. Sorry.
Sorry? Which one?
She is nervous.
Yes, exactly. She's nervous, right? She's like, am I gonna be the first weird person or like the new weird person there? Am I gonna be like out of like different than everybody? So she's nervous, right? And I think she actually said that she was nervous. So yes, totally. Next question. Why can the student join the bicycle club? This is a detailed question.
The bicycle club's office is being renovated.
Yeah, does everyone agree? Yes, right, great. So good detailed question. Now, what kinds of clubs are similar to the bicycle club?
Outdoor activities clubs?
Yeah, everyone agree? Okay, exactly. That's what the consultant suggests. And finally, which of the following is not a benefit of joining the rock climbing club? What is not a benefit?
Get better grade.
Yes, does everyone agree? Getting better grades is not a benefit? Yes, exactly. They didn't say anything about getting better grades, right? They did talk about meeting new people, making friends, because that was like part of the college experience. They talked about like going under different experiences, trying different things, going out of your comfort zone. And I'm not sure if they mentioned being healthier, but I guess that we can assume that it's a benefit, right? It is related to this type of activities. Getting better grades is not. So let's see what our answers. Okay, so the first was correct. She did go to see the consultant because she wanted to join the bicycle club. Now she was trying to attempt that she was trying to express that she was nervous. Now the bicycle club's office is being renovated. Outdoor activities are similar to the bicycle club, and getting better grades is not a benefit, right? All of the other ones are. So great. It was easy, right? Wasn't it? Pretty doable. Nothing too complicated. So let's do another one. Let's see what we have. All right, we have listened to the conversation and answer the questions. Same thing here. Please take notes. I'm gonna play it.
Everything all right, Carla?
Yes, I just wanted to talk to you about the assignment that's due on Monday.
I can't give you an extension if that's what you want.
No, it's not that. I wanted to ask you about the word limit. At the moment, I'm way over it, but I found so many useful sources that I don't really want to cut anything out.
Well, it's meant as a guide rather than a hard and fast rule. It's not as if I'll stop marking as soon as I reach the word limit. But I don't really want you to go way over it either. 2,800 is the absolute maximum, I'd say.
Wow, that's still going to be hard.
Well, you can use this opportunity to try to make your writing more succinct. It's good exercise in writing technique. Think about which of the writer's points you really want to draw attention to and discard any information that isn't really relevant to your premise.
Okay, I'll try that.
Remember, you can always refer to 2 or more sources in the same paragraph, in the same sentence even.
What do you mean?
If one of your citations seems to complement what the other says, you can refer to them at the same time. You can do that when they contradict each other, too. It's a perfectly acceptable way of constructing a paragraph.
I get you. Well, I'd better go. I've got a lot to do before Monday.
Hang on, Carla. While you're here, I wanted to mention something to you.
What's that?
Have you heard about the Harvey Graduate Business Program?
No.
It's a special scheme funded by the Harvey Group, the financial place in town.
Yeah, I know it.
Well, they have a special program that they run especially for graduates. It's very exclusive. They only take on 3 people a year. Each of the major colleges in the state is invited to put forward a maximum of 5 students a year for consideration. And we only pick out the very best students, the ones with really high grades. I wondered if you'd be interested in trying out for it. After all, you've been doing well in all your modules.
Wow, it sounds like an honor to be considered. I guess all those late nights working on assignments were worth it. What does the program give you?
Well, you get work and training at the Harvard Group for a year, and then they will fund your master's course a year down the line. I'm right that you're interested in doing a master's course, aren't I?
Yes, I was considering doing something management-based.
Well, I think they discuss with you what master's course would be best for you and them, depending on the department you're working on. So you may be obliged to do the course they want you to do, but it's bound to be useful. Then they employ you for another year. And after that, you can choose to stay with the company or move on somewhere else.
Harvey's a prestigious company. I couldn't see myself moving on fast if I managed to get my foot in the door.
Indeed. Well, is it something that might appeal to you?
Maybe. I was hoping to go abroad for a while, though. What do I have to do to apply? Do I need a resume? I was working on mine just the other night.
Well, there's a rather lengthy application form to fill out, so I don't think a resume is needed. Then, if you get through the first stage, you'll have to do a presentation. If they like you, they'll invite you back for an interview. It's pretty tough, as you can imagine, but I wouldn't suggest it to you if I didn't think you could do it. I mean, you've done some great presentations in class, and you've had the experience of setting up your own business, too.
No. I haven't done that.
Haven't you? I thought you did something selling perfumes.
That's Miranda.
Oh, is it? Well, sorry about that. My mistake. But you've still had experience working in a business, haven't you?
Yeah, I've worked in my dad's office in the vacations.
Well, that's very valuable, and I'm sure you learned a lot from that. Well, if you're interested in the program, come to my office later on. and I'll give you the details. After 4 is best for me.
Thanks.
Everything all right, Carla?
Yes, I just want.
Okay, guys. So there we have our next second conversation of the day. Now, this one was a little bit longer than the other, and they did talk about more things, right? She initially went to see a professor for one reason, and then the professor stopped her and talked to her about something else. So the conversation had like two different parts, two different sections. Let's see what the questions are. Nicolas, could you please read the first question?
Sure. Carla wants to talk to the professor because she doesn't think she can finish her assignment in time. She has been unable to find good sources for her assignment. She's worried that her assignment is too long. She doesn't know how many sources she should refer to.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicolas. What do you guys think? Why did she go see the professor?
It's the third option. She's worried that her assignment is too long.
Okay. Does everyone agree? Yeah, right. That's the reason why she went to see the professor. She's worried that her assignment is too long. She asked him about the word limit, right? I think she was worried that she was going way over the word limit, so she wanted to see if he had any tips on how to reduce the number of words. Okay. Now question 2 says, read the 6 sentences below. Which tool does the professor advise Carla to do? So we have these 6 sentences, and we had to choose one of these options, right? Is it 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 5 and 6, the 5th and the 6th, 3 and 4, or 1 and 6? What do you guys think?
I think it's 1 and 3.
All right. Yes, is it? What are the rest of you guys? Agree? What do you think? Is it 1 and 3?
I guess 3 and 4.
3 and 4, okay. Fancy?
3 and 4 too.
Okay. Alexandra, what about you?
I think it will be possible that 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay, majority wins. Let's go for 3 and 4, but I am not too sure. Let's try 1 and 3. So it's actually 1 and 3. So 3 is, of course, there, focus on comparing and contrasting information. They talked about this like for a long time, right? They were going over the same idea for a while. Now, discarding information from less reliable sources, I don't think he mentioned anything like that, right? What he did mention in the beginning, sorry, is that she might use this as a chance to practice writing in a more concise, in a more succinct way, right? That's the word that he used, succinct. So concise is a synonym of succinct. So making your writing more concise is definitely going to help in writing fewer words, right? 1 and 3. This is a detailed question again, but to be honest, you guys should be paying attention, special attention, obviously, to the problem. So what's the problem that the student has, and to the solutions or the advice that the university worker gives as well. Those are questions that always appear, what was the problem? What solutions did the university worker give the student? So you should always be looking for that information. Now, question 3 is a detailed question. Alexandra, could you please read question 3?
Yes, the Harvard Graduate Business Program provides young people with a funded master course of their choice, overseas work experience, work in various departments in the company, or a total of 2 years employment at the Harvard Group.
Okay, thank you so much. So, what do you guys think? What does the Harvard Graduate Business Program provide young people with? Another detailed question.
I think it was a founded master's course of their choice, but I don't remember really well.
Okay. So I think they do fund students a course. I'm not sure if it's of their choice though, right? I think that it is the Harvard Graduate Business that has to choose the course that the students are going to be doing. I don't know.
Work in various departments in the company.
Various departments, you sure? I mean, if you
Sure.
all right, let's try it. But I think it's gotta be D. Now, the problem with option C is that although they have the opportunity of working in the company, they don't work in various departments. They work in only one, right? And it is depending on the department that they're working on that they fund the course, right? I think it's something like that, or that they employ them for another year. But in total, it's a 2 years employment program, right? So they'll be working in the company for 2 years. The first one is where they are going to be doing the master's course and working at the same time. And the second one, they just work, right? They employ the students for another year. So it was option D. It's not overseas either because, it's a local business, right? It's not overseas. Now, question 4, he says, listen to Carla, and I'm going to be Carla, so listen to me. Carla says, Harvard is a prestigious company. I couldn't see myself moving on fast if I managed to get my foot in the door. What does Carla mean when she says, I couldn't see myself moving on fast if I managed to get my foot in the door? What do you guys think?
If I got a job at Harvey's, I wouldn't want to leave the company for some time.
Yes, does everyone agree?
Yes.
Okay. Exactly, great. So she says, I couldn't see myself moving on fast if I managed to get my foot in. So this conditional sentence is already telling you that it has to be a condition, right? It cannot be once or after, because there's a difference between saying after I've worked, so after I've been there, versus if I get there, right? So it's different. When you say if, then you're open to the possibility and you acknowledge that it could happen or it couldn't. But when you say after, then you are like assuring that it will happen, although you don't know, right? So if I manage to get my foot in the door, it has to be options B or C, because the other ones are not conditionals. And now if we interpret what she's saying when she says, I couldn't see myself moving on fast, that means I don't see myself as wanting to change companies fast, right? Moving on means doing something else, doing something different. So she wouldn't want to do something else to work for another company too fast after getting the job, right? So yes. And finally, another detailed question, number 5 says, which one of these does Carla not need to do? So what do you guys think?
Send in a resume.
Okay, yes, does everyone agree? Yeah, right, all of the other ones are part of the application process, but sending in a resume is not. Great. So we got 3 out of 5. This one maybe was a little bit more difficult. You have more details. We missed the detailed questions, right? We missed question 3 and question 2, which were both detailed. So careful with those details. Always pay attention to the suggestions or the advice. And well, in this case, well, that was just a detail, right? I mean, that you have to be careful. Do you guys have any questions so far? Is everything okay?
Andrea, can you repeat the question 4, please? I don't understand at all.
Okay, sure. Now, question 4 is a function and purpose question, which asks you to interpret things, right? So you have to say what the person or the speaker meant when saying something. So behind the words, right? What did that person actually mean? So in this case, Carla says, Harvey's a prestigious company. I couldn't see myself moving on fast to get my foot in the door. Now we have these 4 options. What we have to do is interpret this sentence, right? I couldn't see myself moving on fast if I managed to get my foot in the door. If we look at it, then she's using some idiomatic expressions, right? Like, manage to get my foot in the door doesn't literally mean like getting my foot in the door, right? What does that mean? What does it mean if I manage to get my foot in the door? If I manage to get my foot in the door, what do you guys think it means? If I manage to get my foot in the company's door, right? That's what she means. So that means if I manage to somehow get in the company, get accepted, right, for the program. So if I manage to get my foot in the door of the company, if I manage to somehow get in, get accepted, get the job, then I couldn't see myself moving on fast. Now we can eliminate some options like option A and option D, because she says, if I manage to get my foot in the door, right? When you say, if I do something, that means that you're open to the possibility and you know that it can happen or maybe it won't happen. You don't know, right? But options A and D, for example, say, after I worked at Harvey's, right? Or once I've got a job at Harvey's. So both of them are assuring that she's gonna get the job, but she doesn't know. So we cannot say we can eliminate options A and D, right? Because it's not the same saying if I get the job versus after I get the job. Now, between these two options, both of them have the same condition, right? The result clause is what matters. So let's analyze the result clause. It says, I couldn't see myself moving on fast. So what does that mean? So we said that moving on basically means to do something else, right? So when you move on, for example, in a relationship, that means that like you get over it, right? You move on to something else, you continue your life. Same thing with jobs, for example. If you move on, that means that you stop working somewhere and you continue, or you start working for another company, right? So what she says here is that she doesn't think that she's gonna want to leave the company, right? She's not gonna change companies so fast after getting the job. So if I got a job at Harvey's, I wouldn't want to leave the company for some time. Another thing that you guys can consider here, always pay attention to the tone. Is it something positive? Is it something negative? How does she feel about the program, right? How does she feel about the offer? So if you guys were able to understand her feelings, then you know that she was actually very excited, right? And she was actually very honored to be hearing this from the professor. So she really wanted to apply. She was interested. So option B has a negative tone, right? I wouldn't have to work there forever. It's like she doesn't want to work there forever. But she's saying that it's a prestigious company, so she actually wants to work there for some time, right? So this has like a negative connotation, but this one here has a positive one, right? I wouldn't want to leave the company for a while. So basically, this is kind of like a mix of function and purpose, and also paraphrasing, right? It's like a little bit of both. So is this okay? Better? Any other question? Questions? So let me know if there's a question that wasn't so clear, so that we can try to see it in a more detailed way. You know, sometimes when you got them correct, then I just move to the next one without explaining too much. So let me know. Now let's do this one here. I'm gonna play the conversation. Same thing. Please take notes.
Sorry to keep you waiting. What can I do for you?
Well, I need some help finding accommodation for the semester.
You've left it a bit late, haven't you? You'll be lucky to find anything.
Yeah, well, I had a room lined up with someone in town, but I rang her yesterday and it turns out she's given the room to someone else.
Didn't you pay a deposit?
No, I didn't think I needed to. We had a sort of informal agreement.
Very informal by the sound of it. Well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? Well, we won't have a lot available. I have to say we definitely don't have any rooms available in the student dorms. I mean, there are always a few no-shows, but we won't know about that for another couple of weeks, and presumably you'll need a place to stay in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are here now. We're staying in a motel just out of town, but they'll be leaving in a couple of days.
Well, you could always stay there for a couple more weeks and then take up any free spaces in the dorms when we know about them.
That might be a problem. I mean, I don't have my own transport, so it'll be hard for me to get on and off campus.
Well, that's likely to be an issue whatever you do. You won't find anywhere on campus now.
I suppose I could sleep on a friend's floor for a couple of weeks.
Now, you know that's against college rules, don't you?
Yes, I guess.
Well, it seems to me you have two options. You can either find a motel or a guest house somewhere closer to the campus where you can stay a couple of weeks until we know about any students who don't show up this term. Mind you, they're going to be pretty full now, what with all the students arriving. And there are a lot of people on the waiting list, so we can't guarantee you a dorm. You may be better off looking for some private accommodation in town, renting a room in a private house or sharing a flat with other students.
Yeah, that might be best. Do you have a list of places here?
Well, we got a folder over there of people in town with rooms available. You can look through it and jot down some numbers. Bear in mind, though, that we've had about 50 students a day for the past week coming in and taking a look at it. And we can't keep track of what's available and what's taken. You'll have to do some ringing around.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, you can always look on the student body website. There's an accommodation page there too, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah, but again, this time of year, things are really getting snapped up all the time. It's hard to keep tabs on what's still out there.
Okay, well, thanks for your help. Can I put my name on that waiting list anyway, in case I don't find anywhere else?
Sure, write your details on this form, and we'll get in touch if anything comes up.
Thanks.
Sorry to keep you waiting. What can I do for you?
Right? So this one was a little bit different. It was between a student and the person in charge of accommodation at the university, right? What was her problem? Her problem. Didn't have somewhere to stay, right? She was looking for somewhere to stay. And the person here gave her some suggestions on what she can do. So let's look at the questions. Lorena, could you please read the first question?
Why is the student looking for accommodation now? The accommodation she booked is no longer available. She forgot to book accommodation earlier. She signed up for the course at the last minute. She disliked her present accommodation and wants to change.
Okay, guys, what do you think?
And the first one, the accommodation she booked is not longer available.
Okay, does everyone?
Yes.
All right, perfect, that's correct. So yes, I think she had an agreement with one of her friends, but I think the friend gave the room to somebody else, right? Because it wasn't a formal agreement. So it's no longer available. Now, question 2 says, listen to this part of the conversation again. And says, no, I didn't think I needed to. We had sort of an informal agreement. Accommodation officer. Very informal by the sounds of it. Well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? Now, what does the man imply when he says, well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? What does he imply? What does he mean when he says that? What do you guys think?
He wants to give the student some advice, can be.
Okay.
Probably number 1.
The student was foolish, okay. So, anybody else? Nicolas, what do you think?
He feels sorry for the student.
I'm sorry for the student. I don't know, but we have 3 different answers now. Alexandra, what about you?
The first one, he thinks the student was foolish. I think so.
Okay, so yes, that's correct. He thinks the student was foolish. So when he says, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? Like, is he really implying that he wants to give the student some advice? he's not giving the student advice, and he's not saying anything that makes us think that he wants to give the student some advice, right? What advice would he give him? This is not advice. Now he feels sorry, that would be different, right? That would be like, oh, well, I'm so sorry that happened to you. So he just thinks the student was foolish, right? So it's something that she shouldn't have done. She should have known better and had a formal agreement, right? So definitely not. Now, Avril, are you there? Okay, so question 3 says, why doesn't the student want to remain where she is staying now? Why?
The first one, it is too far from the college campus.
Yes, everyone agrees? So yeah, right, I think she said something like that. She said that she lives too far away, right? And she doesn't have any transport on her own, so it's difficult for her to get to campus. Now, what sort of accommodation may the man be able to offer her in a couple of weeks? What will he be able to offer her? So,
A room in a shared student flat.
okay, everyone agree? A room in a... What about the rest? What do you guys think? Betsy, what do you think?
The number 3, 2, a room in a shared student flat.
No, like this, remember this is the accommodation officer, right? That works for the university. So does he really have any power on shared student apartments? Because flat is an apartment, right? So does he really have any power on that? Any say on that?
A room in a student dorm.
Yes, right, that makes more sense. Because like, although he did suggest that she finds a room in a shared student apartment, right? She suggested that. He suggested that, sorry. But it was just a suggestion. And I think the university has like a list of places that are available. So she can look for a place there, right? But it's not something that he will be able to offer her in that way. Now, what is the problem with the accommodation listed on in the folder and on the website? What is the problem with that accommodation?
There is a waiting list for the accommodation listed.
Okay. I don't know. The waiting list is for the student dorms, right? The waiting list is for the student dorms. So if a student doesn't show up, then the next person in line is going to be receiving the dorm. That's the waiting list. But Like the accommodation listed in the folder and on the website is a different type of accommodation. And what's the problem with that? It goes out of date very quickly. That is a problem. Because what he says is that you have this list in the folder and on the website of apartments that are like available near the campus, right? Where the routes of the buses go. But the thing is that there have been a lot of students coming in the last few weeks and looking at the same folders, right? And looking at the same lists. So they don't know if those places are still available or not. It goes out of date, right? So it's not updated. So maybe they have the folder, but next day a student booked one of the apartments there. So it's no longer available, but it's difficult to keep track and to update the list, right? That was the problem with the accommodation listed in the folder. Because again, the waiting list is for the student dorms, not for the other type of accommodation. Okay. Is it okay? Do you guys have any questions about this one? No questions? Everything's clear?
In the test, can we take notes? The audios we listen to?
Yes, totally. You can take notes. I mean, you don't have to, but most students take notes when they're listening to the conversations and lectures. So it is really advisable that you take notes, at least a few notes related to the details. But of course, it's up to every student, but you are allowed to take notes.
Miss, we just hear one time or twice the audio.
One time. Only one time. Yes. No other questions? Everything's clear? Okay, let's do one more for Magush. Very quickly. Okay. So let's look at this one.
Now, listen to a conversation between a student and a university administrator.
Say, is this the student life office?
Yep, you found us. How can I help you?
Yeah, this is my first year of school, and my advisor told me it'd be a good idea to join a student organization right away. What sort of organizations can I sign up for?
Well, often students join organizations that match their hobbies, or you could sign up for something that's related to your degree.
I don't know. I'm majoring in international relations. Seems like it'd be hard to find a student organization for something that specific.
Oh, no, not at all, actually. Actually, the International Relations Department sponsors a student organization. It's called the Model UN. Members get to pretend they are the ambassadors that represent different countries in the United Nations. They put on performances, having mock negotiations. Once a year, the club even goes out to New York to perform in front of real UN ambassadors.
Man, that sounds like fun. But isn't it expensive? The club fees or travel costs, I mean.
Well, none of the clubs charge membership fees, if that's what you're asking. And most of the cost of travel is funded by the university. But you will have to pay a $50 fee when you take the trip. But I've never heard any complaints about that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I might want to do that. What other options do I have, though? I mean, you mentioned hobby-related stuff, and I love watching movies and bicycling.
We have different clubs for both of these hobbies, actually. There's the Wednesday night movie club. They choose a different movie every week and then screen it in the campus theater. And bicycling, well, there's the Mighty Cyclists. They do a big bike trip one weekend a month.
All those organizations sound really cool. Am I allowed to be in more than one organization? My advisor kept saying I should just join one.
There's no rules against being in more than one club, but we usually advise first-year students not to join too many clubs at once. It's really important to focus on your studies in the first year while you kind of adjust to the pace of college studies. That's probably why your advisor told you that.
Right, so I should probably go with the Model UN, huh? Because it's related to my studies.
Well, not necessarily. The Model UN is actually... I don't think I've ever seen a first-year student last a whole year in the club. It's a lot of work. You have to go to meetings every week, study the country that you're assigned, and the New York trip happens over spring break when you'd normally be resting up or doing homework.
Gosh, that sounds like a lot of work. How about the other two clubs, the movie one and the one for biking?
Those are much more popular with the first-year students. Yeah, they're both fun, easy clubs to be in. Those hobby-based organizations are usually first-year favorites because they're a great way to meet friends who share your interests, to get yourself settled in here, socially. I joined one of those. Maybe both, but check with your advisor on that.
Okay, now let's see very quickly the questions. First one here says, what do the speakers mainly discuss? So notice how this is different. It's a main idea, but asking you to summarize the conversation. So what do they mainly discuss?
Which campus clubs the students may want to join?
Yes, exactly. So they didn't focus specifically on the effect first-year students have on the performance of the student organizations. Not really, like maybe they mentioned it as a detail. Commitment and money required for different clubs, they do talked about that, right? But when they were like comparing the difference between academic and hobby-related clubs, it wasn't a comparison really so great. Now then we have, based on the conversation, what can be concluded about the bicycle, about the bicycling and movie clubs? So what can be concluded about the bicycling and movie clubs? What do you guys think?
Membership in this club is not as time consuming as membership in some other clubs.
Okay, membership in these clubs is not as time consuming. Yes, right? Because it's more suitable for first-year students who are like busy with homework and stuff. Great. Now next question says, what can be inferred from the Model UN Club? What can be inferred? So, Alexandra, what do you think?
The less,
They sometimes go on to become real UN ambassadors. What makes you think that? I think in this case, it's gotta be the second, right? The only thing that they actually talk about there is the cost of travel, right? The student was worried that it was gonna be too expensive. And the professor's like, or the consultant is like, it's only $15, right? And most students don't have problems with that. So, or like there haven't been any complaints, I think, something like that, right? Is what was said. So it's related to the cost of travel, right? They didn't say anything about either of the other options. Nothing else was mentioned. Is that okay? Yes, did you guys remember that part? And we have what is true about first-year students who join student organizations. Just two answers. So, Bensi, what do you think?
The second and the third can be.
Okay, maybe the second and fourth, right? I think they didn't say that it was against the rules. There was no rule for limiting how many clubs students can join, right? Or first-year students can join. But since first-year students are usually like busy with work and they don't have much time, then they often join easy clubs, right? Clubs that revolve around their hobbies so that they don't, so that their studies are not affected. Is that okay? Do you guys have any questions about this? About anything at all before we go today? So tomorrow we'll continue working, but please, today we have to fill out 2 surveys, so don't go yet. I'm sending you guys the first, and once you guys are done, I'll send the other one out. Tomorrow we'll continue working on the listening section, but we'll be looking at the lectures part, which is a little bit more difficult. So there are more things to say there than we have here in the conversation. Okay. Great, now I'm sending the other one too, please. And then you can go and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, guys, thank you so much. See you next time.